The Israel-Hamas war has once again put celebrities' views on world events and controversial topics under the microscope. So should stars be outspoken if they believe something very deeply? Do their views matter just because they're famous or celebrated? Do we want to hear their political views, or should they simply just get on with acting? Well, Israeli actress Gal Gadot has organised a screening of the Hamas terror attacks in Hollywood. Meanwhile, fellow actress Angelina Jolie has accused Israel of deliberately bombing a trapped population. Her father, however, fellow actor John Voight, has slammed her views, accusing her, his own daughter, of spreading lies. Now, writing about this in the Jewish News, Bridget Grant, and give us a view, or give us your take on all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it drove me to write this op-ed about it because I caught sight on the IMDb movie database. It was almost like an announcement. Coming soon, the Hamas horror atrocities video, a 47-minute film of what happened on October 7th. And it was billed between an announcement for some thriller and then another film above it. And I just thought, my goodness, this is what it has turned into. And I've got the greatest admiration for Gal Gadot. She has been constantly, her Instagram feed is full of pleas for the hostages. But it just felt that she did a special invite to VIPs and influencers to come and see this film in Los Angeles. Hollywood being attached to it at all at this point. You know, this is Fantasyland Hollywood. They make fantasy films, and it doesn't feel appropriate that the first kind of screening to celebs should be in Tinseltown, and that I believe Gal Gadot, I mean, you know, she's obviously a trusted source. She's Israeli. She is supportive. She's a patriot. She, I believe, would have told her friends and they would have believed her. So I'm not quite sure who her influencers and guest lists were. And again, with the Angelina Jolie thing, I just felt that it was, you know, you have to pick a side. It seems like, you know, the audience on social media is going for celebs to push them into making a commitment. I mean, you would know this yourself.
I do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not Angelina Jolie, but I know exactly what she's going through if she's been told to pick a side and that her silence is deafening and all this kind of thing. I've certainly been experiencing that myself. Daniel, what about the idea that in real terms, in the real world, celebrities, whether they deserve it or not, do have a platform? Doesn't mean they know more about anything than anyone else, but it does mean that more people will listen to them than they would to somebody else. So it could be that you're a celeb and you deeply believe something, a real conviction, and you feel as if you would be letting the world and your beliefs down if you didn't use your platform to tell people.
I agree. I think the reason Gal Gadot invited people to see this was because she knows that it's important to bear witness. And celebrities are influential. And perhaps she wanted it as an Israeli woman. She just wanted to feel some comfort for herself. Mm-hmm. And again, who am I to say that she shouldn't have that? But beyond that, when people see something going on, they feel the need to talk about it. And I don't know if it's in order because you want to get your own personal message out. So I too have watched the footage. Mm-hmm. I didn't enjoy it. But why did I do it? Because I know what happened. Until you see it, the Grand Canyon is a hole in the ground. And then you see it and you realise, actually, it's not a hole in the ground. It's the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. And it's moving and it's touching and it makes you feel things. And similarly, you can hear about the atrocities that Hamas perpetrated, but until you see an incinerated baby, and I apologise to everyone for saying those words, and they're not words I ever thought I would say, but we have to say them and we have to see them, because if we don't, then what we're talking about is something that is more remote from us. And the people who were murdered, who were slaughtered, deserve the honour of us having just that small frisson of discomfort and more than discomfort. Why am I sitting there with my head in my hands, crying at my desk, doing this? Because as a Jew, I feel it's important that I bear witness, but also as a human being, I feel that it's important I bear witness. And I write for The Guardian, so I have some Twitter followers. There are things that I think that people should know that I'm trying to let them know as someone that has a particular interest in this, someone who spent a lot of time in Israel, speaks Hebrew, knows Israelis, is getting news from Israel. I will use my platform in order to do that, because I think that it's important that that happens. I don't agree with a lot of what Gal Gadot says. I don't agree with all of what Angelina Jolie says either. But these are people who I think are doing things for the right reasons. I feel like Angelina Jolie could do with educating herself somewhat on the topic.
But that's the point, surely. That's the point. They're not educated. They speak from a position of authority when they have none, right?
So who does have authority?
Well, I mean, I
Who's
wouldn't...
allowed to speak?
Well, I certainly not actors. I mean, interestingly, and I wrote about this. Angelina Jolie was in the film A Mighty Heart, which was about Daniel Pearl, who was murdered in 2002 in Pakistan by Islamic extremists. And she was in that film and felt very passionately about it at the time. And actually, some of the acts shown in the film are borne out in A Mighty Heart, Michael Winterbottom's film. My belief from day 3 was that the film should have been seen by everyone, not some elite Hollywood group. I know people don't agree with it, and there is a view that the sensibilities, that the families of the victims don't want their children or loved ones to be shown in their last moments in this horrific way. But I do believe that the room for denial, the room for disbelief, and certainly Hollywood showing it to an elite group of people, VIPs, in no way confirms. I mean, the longer the period has gone on, the more likelihood of, as they say, AI and recreation. And I actually think that the mistake is for them to get involved. You know,
I just wonder, though, if there's a very strong feeling, particularly among Israelis and those who are pro-Israel, that there is such a thunderous clamour of propaganda being issued by all sorts of other factions who eclipse them and outnumber them by millions, not by a few thousand, but by millions. And so the thought that, you know, Gal Gadot or anybody else using a platform, whatever it is, to stand and say, look, have a look at this. This is what happened. Have a look at this. That is not trying to, you know, trivialise it or coat it in glitz or glamour, but just say, if I can do anything at all to inform people because I'm Gal Gadot, I'm going to do it. Look, I don't know her. I don't care about, you know, what her motivation is, but I just wonder whether it could be a good thing.
Yeah, no, her motivation is definitely good. It's definitely good. But I think that the problem is it's a too smaller audience. And I mean, you know, I'm maybe in that unique position of thinking that there would have been some opportunity for everyone to have seen it early on. Because until you see it with your own eyes, you don't believe the horror.
Daniel, final line to you.
I think that it's important that we get this stuff out there. And I wanted to come back to something you just said, where you talked about people being pro-Israel. And amidst all this debate, I think that what we're talking about with celebrities is not the crux of this at all. It's about what happened. And you use the phrase pro-Israel. And I guess I'd like to finish on the fact that the phrase pro-Israel shouldn't really exist. Everyone should be pro-Israel and everyone should be pro-Palestine.
Thank you very much.
And we just need to work it out.
That is